5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
This is About Space, America's return to space, with news and information on our U.S. space program. Is your host of About Space, David Denault.
Welcome, and thanks for joining me today. Well, if you've been following About Space, you might remember we did a 3-part series on Nikola Tesla, a man from the future. Well, it now appears there may have been a plot to hide his findings, and the famous entrepreneur J.P. Morgan was involved. And we are learning the inventor saw the Great Pyramid of Giza as a power generator. Next, as America and the world is listening to About Space today. Come to the land of orange groves and palm trees. Come to the land of theme parks. Come to the land of sunny beaches and the azure waters of the Atlantic Ocean. So come and visit Florida for lasting memories. Email us. Email david.ddcruisetours@gmail.com or call D&D Cruise and Tours at 877-747-8631 for your next family, cruise, or theme park vacation. Let us provide you your next visit with our travel experience, not experimentation. We are members of IATAN and CLIA. Email david.ddcruisandtours@gmail.com. Serving the Southeast, traveler since 1985. Welcome back. Did Nikola Tesla find the secret of unlimited energy? Well, who was Tesla? Dr. Mike Safer, author of The Wizard and the Life and Times of Nikola Tesla, explains.
Nikola Tesla was born in 1856 in Smiljan, Croatia. He studied at the University of Graz, which was like the MIT of Austria in those days. He was a mathematical genius, and he eventually moved to the United States to work for Tom Edison. Things didn't work out too well, and then he moved out on his own.
And what was his famous accomplishment?
And I don't think it's just one. I think there's at least 3 major inventions. The first is the induction motor. And what Tesla figured out was how to harness alternating current. Before Tesla, you could only send electricity 1 mile, power dropping off over distance, just for lighting. After Tesla, you could put one hydroelectric power system. He's the inventor of the hydroelectric power system, and you could run factories 400, 500, 600 miles in all directions. He also invented wireless communication. He invented what became the radio and cell phone technology, the ability to multiply frequencies and create an unlimited number of wireless channels. We talk about Hertz waves, but they're not really Hertz waves. They're Tesla waves. All of our computer systems run on the binary code, and he really is the forerunner to all that. So I think those are his 3 major inventions.
So what makes Tesla different from other inventors like Edison?
In general, Edison built better mousetraps. The light bulb existed before Edison perfected the light bulb. Motion picture cameras existed. He built the best one. Tesla himself distinguished from Edison because Tesla said, I discovered new principles. He was able to transmit voice by means of wireless communication. That was a new principle.
One of the greatest inventions was the Wardenclyffe Tower in New York. He wanted to send wireless electricity across the globe. So what can you tell us about Tesla's towers?
It's a very sad story. In 1898, he was doing big experiments in downtown New York City, and it was scary. So he moved all the way out to Colorado to test his wireless inventions and met with J.P. Morgan, and Morgan gave him $150,000 to build a tower. Tesla read an article that Marconi was using his equipment, and he freaked out. So he doubled the size of the tower because he figured, I'm not going to just send impulses from New York to London. If I build a tower twice that height, I can send it all over the world, and Morgan will make even more money. So Morgan was in Europe at the time, and when Morgan returned, he found out that Tesla ran out of money, but he'd also doubled the size of the tower from 90 feet to 180 feet. So that was one of the reasons Morgan pulled the funding. But Morgan didn't just pull the funding, he blocked other investors And the reason he blocked Tesla, I think, is because he was partly afraid that maybe Tesla was right. Maybe you could send electrical power without wires. And Morgan had rubber plantations. You have the rubber around the wires. He had copper mines. He had lumber yards. He wanted telephone poles. He wanted wires. He wanted to sell copper. He wanted to sell rubber.
The question remains, would his Tower of Power actually work if he had completed it? Well, Tesla in his studies also believed that the pyramids were power generators. A person who has studied the pyramids of Giza is Danny Keir. He said there were similarities between the tower and the Giza pyramids.
Apparently Tesla said his Wardenclyffe Tower, he was using a longitudinal wave, or he was outputting a longitudinal electric wave. And technically it's not possible. No one's figured that out. In the pyramids, they're producing loud vibrations that mix to produce longitudinal waves. It's very similar. Also, the pyramids in Egypt and the Wardenclyffe Tower are both built on aquifers. With the Wardenclyffe Tower, the water was there to aid the grounding. He was transmitting through ground, and the water lowered the resistance in the ground and made it a conductor. The pyramids, that's also the case. Not only are they water powered, they are built above an aquifer, and they were sat in pools, we think. Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower was low frequency. So is the Great Pyramid. That's another similarity. Both have the capability to transmit worldwide.
Tesla died in January 1943 in New York City. But immediately upon learning of his death, the U.S. government took all of his papers, experiments, and documents and kept them top secret for more than 10 years. And even today, many people believe the government has never released all of his work. So what do you think? A possible conspiracy to hide his findings? Email me, david.aboutspacetoday@gmail.com. And let me remind you to check out our Facebook page, aboutspace.today, for launches and landings, and invite your family and friends to listen weekly. Join Dawn Meyer, Space Coast News Editor, this Friday for America in Space. And to all our listeners around the globe and here in the U.S., thanks for joining me. I'm David Denault, and this has been About Space Today.